Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tammy M Simmons Podcast. I am your host, Tammy M Simmons. And today's podcast is called Love Yourself. And the reason why I kind of paused after saying that is because I realized that there's more to loving yourself than we say. And as I was thinking about even making this podcast, I was even thinking about my own life. And I remember going through a period where I was upset with myself, even so much to the point I hated myself. When I told myself, I looked in the mirror, and I know it's not a laughing matter, but I remember looking in the mirror and I said, I hate you. And it was because of the decisions that I made in my life. And, you just start blaming yourself for everything. And a lot of things that I realized was that some of the decisions, like, of course, I take full accountability for, but the thing about it is there was always more to the story. And there was always more that I didn't know. It was things happening in the background, um, people doing things, manipulation, and all these other gaslighting things. And you're taking on the brunt of all of those things. And then now you're hating yourself because you're like, I wish I should have seen that and seen this and all this other stuff. And but I wanted to basically take it slow and take it back because people are so quick to tell you to love yourself and all this other stuff and do right and take care of yourself and all this other stuff. But there's more to the story. What if you had a bad childhood and things like that? And I know people like, you can't blame your childhood, but that's actually where your development and things come from. A lot of us, it's like when you were a child, you couldn't speak, all this other stuff, you couldn't express yourself. And so at the end of the day, now you are an adult. And what happens? Everybody wants you to speak. Let me know how you feel. But prior, or basically majority of your life, you were told not to speak. And then even if you did speak, you were wrong and people overtalked you or people wanted to fight you or you know what I mean? Things like that. And so you learned how to be quiet. You kind of learned that you weren't enough. Not that that is true, but that's how people made you feel. And now as an adult, people are telling you, you are enough. You are special. You are loved. You're this and all these encouragement. And you can't really feel those things because your entire life, you were made to feel as though you were nothing. And so that's why I want to take it slow because it's not easy for everybody and nobody really takes the time to say, hey, everyone says love yourself and take care of yourself. Oh, they say all those things, but nobody really says how. No one takes you by the hand and walks with you and be like, listen, you know what I mean? You are special. How do you do this? How do you feel like you are something when your entire life you were made to feel as though you were nothing? So I want to be sensitive to you if this is you at this time. The things that happened to you in your childhood was not your fault. A lot of adults, you know, have their own thing going on, and I am not basically excusing them, but I'm giving an explanation. And it may not be an explanation for everything, okay? But a lot of times they didn't know how to love, they didn't know how any of these things. So at the end of the day, God has given you awareness and you know Like, I don't know if you were like me. Like, things happen when I was a child, and I was like, when I have a child, I'll never do that. God has given some of us awareness and discernment to be like, no, I'm not going to do that. But sometimes adults, they don't have that same thing. No one told them, or, you know what I mean? They just were doing things just to survive. It's not an excuse, but it could be an explanation or a different perspective. But now you, as an adult, some of you have children now, and you're trying so hard to avoid the things that happen to you. You're trying to break generational curses. You know what I mean? You're like a superhero out here trying to do everything. So I will say this, you can't solve all things. But what you can do is try to be the best parent or whatever that you can be. But also realize that what you need or what you needed may not be what your child or the children in your life might need. They may need for you to come in as a different type of person. Okay. So we'll get into that. But um how? How do we get to this part where you love yourself? You have to know that you are worth something. I know that nobody may have ever even made you feel like that, but you have to start seeing that you are worth something, that your life has meaning. And I know, like, right now, you're probably going through stuff, but you can't worry about the outside forces. You have to realize the point that you are on this earth and you are still on this earth, there is a reason for you to be here. Your story isn't over. And a lot of times, um, we think it is. Like, we are at our wits' end, all this stuff. But the thing about it is, you are here for a purpose. So if you don't know what your purpose is, start asking God. Wait for the answer. Ask Him for wisdom for what your purpose is. And sometimes I want to say we might put too much pressure or emphasis on purpose sometimes. Not all the time, but it can be. Like, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? But it's like, do you ever really live? So sometimes, like, I'm somewhat not talking to you in a way. I'm kind of talking to myself. Like, do I put too much emphasis on purpose? Because I'll tell you something. Even recently, I was going through something, and I was like, God, why do you still have me here? Why am I still on this earth? And sometimes it's like we want to know from God, like, what do you have me here for? What is my purpose? Why you got me here? And it's like, why don't you just focus on living? We put too much pressure, or I can say maybe I have put put too much pressure on myself to try to figure it all out. Before I did this podcast episode, um, I made a video about making pillows again and all this other stuff. Don't worry about looking for the video, it's not up. But as I was, getting prepared and ready for the video, I looked at my podcasting equipment and I felt like or realized that that is what I should be doing. And I've had videos and I think even stuff like that. And I realized that voice is something that God is calling me to. And but there's still a part of you that still wants to go in another direction. But either way, um, but that is the thing. There's something unique inside of you, just you being here on this earth, that you have to see that you are special. You have to see it. It doesn't matter if nobody else sees it, if nobody else comes or anything. You have to see this for yourself. And you're saying, how do I see it? Start realizing the good stuff that you love about yourself. Start studying yourself. And it's not like, oh, you're making an idol out of yourself. No, you are taking what God has given you, your God given ability, you. You are taking that and you're studying it. And you're saying to yourself that you are special. And I am worth spending time on. Not like that job and all this other stuff. And we care so much about everybody else, but we put ourselves on the back burner. And I know that people have made you feel as though you don't have a purpose. There is no reason for you to be on this earth. But the thing about it is, you have a purpose. God still has you on this earth for a reason. And it doesn't have to be for what anybody else thinks, because people will sit up there and they will use you. And I realized this a few days ago. I talked to myself. And so at the end of the day, I was, yesterday actually. So I'm cleaning up, talking to myself, and I'm like, I don't understand why people keep doing this to me and why I always this. And I'm like, but I realized what my issue was. I lived a life where I people pleased. I was pleasing people more than I was pleasing God. Since childhood, you're sitting up there and you're trying to have everybody be your friend and do all these things, and you are conditioned to please people, try to do right by them so that they will do right by you. And little by little, you see that no matter what you do for people, it's never enough. I even thought back to the movie Moana, and not Moana, so to speak, but Maui. Because if you think about it, he was a demigod, all this stuff, and he was doing all these things for people. And nothing that he did was good enough. He did take the heart of Tafiti, but he was taking it back to give it to the people. I know that's wrong for stealing, but he was taking it back to give to the people so that they could create life. But instead, what happened? It basically wiped out people. All the stuff happened, but he was trying to do something good. I know stealing is wrong, you know what I mean? But you know what I mean? But that is the whole point. And how many times have you stole from yourself to try to give to somebody else? You stole your time, you stole all these different things, love and all this other stuff for other people. And then when you gave it to them, as if you did nothing at all. People will take and take. But now it's time for you to give back to yourself. And that's what we have to do. You have to put yourself as the number one priority outside of God, you understand. But put yourself as the number one priority. All that love that you would give to that person, give it to yourself. Like I said, start studying yourself. Start loving on yourself. What do you like to do? Because we've given it to everybody else. Everyone is getting older and things like that. And how long are you going to continue to allow people to dictate your life or continue to take from you? You are special. You have a lot of attributes, but you have to start seeing that. You're not somebody that people can continue to use and abuse. You have to start standing up for yourself. taking your time back. Put your phone on do not disturb. You are not somebody that people can call when they are bored. Let that go. And people will tell you that that has happened to me before a lot of times. And it was like, oh, I called you because I was bored. I called you because I knew you wouldn't answer the phone. Nobody else answered the phone, but I knew you would. Like, what the? Excuse me? You know what I mean? As if you're not valuable. They're bored, and you know what I mean? So you can't just keep being with everybody, those things. But you also have to realize that you are not what people have said about you. You have to take those voices out of your head one way or another. When they come up in your head and in your, you hear them, realize that you are not what those people have said. When people are angry, they say things or whatever, and it's not an excuse. Sometimes it's just explanation, but it's the whole point that you have to rebuke it. As soon as it comes out of their mouth, rebuke it. Because the thing about it is, people will try to put their stuff on you. Do not let people bury you with words. We're not doing that. You take up for yourself and you say no. People will try to say, "Oh yeah, because that's just how we are." Who is we? We no, that's not us. Yeah, because we used to be depressed. Who is we? Or we're always depressed. No, who is we? Take it back, whether you feel depressed or not at that moment. Take it back, and you start speaking life over yourself. You have to change the way you see yourself. Start with you. That'd probably be the podcast title. But that is the point. We're starting with ourselves. We're going to start loving ourselves. I'm not looking for nobody else to do it. I'm going to start loving myself. We're going to change the trajectory of our lives by the grace of God. I know what you used to say about me. I know what you think about me or whatever. But a lot of people who think ways about you, they don't know you at all. People will know you as a child and then as an adult think that they know exactly who you are. They don't. Haven't even had a conversation with you as an adult at all, but they can tell you, oh yeah, because I don't even do any of those things I used to do as a child. I was a child. So those are the things that people will try to put you in a bubble. They will try to put you in a box. No, you got to be careful of what you allow other people to speak over you. And you have to be careful what you speak to and over yourself. We're not doing that anymore. You're going to take back your life. Know that you have a purpose. God didn't just put you on this earth for no reason. Start speaking and being kind to yourself. I know that you may have had a life where you couldn't be kind to yourself, but now you have to take control over that. Take control over your mind. Take control over your thoughts. You are not who you used to be. You are strong. And I know some people hate that word, but you are. You've been through a lot. You're resilient. You can come back from anything. Now you have to shape your life the way that you want to live it. And it doesn't really even require money. I'm talking about your mindset. No matter what people have said to you in the past, you can change that. You know who you are. And if you don't, spend time with yourself, study yourself, and love on yourself. That free time that you have, don't always go onto your phone. Take out a notebook, start writing to yourself. Start writing to your younger selves. And letting yourself know that you are okay. And you're going to make it a lot further than you ever thought or imagined. I love you guys. I pray that this episode has blessed you in one way or another. Until next time.